sama xoolee gis ni may dundee dama xalaat te lu ñëwoo xoolal ni may dundee xalaat Afrique xalaat jàpp ngay toog ci ndey sàmb jaraaf ba yaa ngi jëree jëf ma ne nu kànduma njëram yaa ngi njëram na nay maam Malick Sall
The comedian Blanche Gardin is not politically correct, whether in her role in the French television series Working Girls or as a 30-something woman in Il faut que je vous parle. She has always talked openly on controversial subjects. In her latest show in New York, she talks about gender, sex, and narcissism.
Les parents sont des assassins en puissance, c'est particulier quand même. Ils comprennent pas très bien les parents que plus on vieillit comme ça et plus on est critique, un peu amer à leur égard, etc. Mais moi je trouve ça somme toute assez logique et assez sain d'en vouloir à ses parents parce que c'est vrai que plus on avance en âge et plus on se rapproche du châtiment qu'ils nous ont infligé en nous donnant la vie. Moi, je suis en thérapie depuis 4 ans. Et principalement pour un problème de relation avec ma mère. Et en fait, il n'y a aucune amélioration. C'est-à-dire que je me rends compte qu'il n'y a aucune évolution. C'est-à-dire que toutes les semaines, je paye quelqu'un pour aller dire du mal de ma mère, gratos. Il n'y a pas de... sans aucun but. Il n'y a plus de... Des fois, je me dis, est-ce que ce ne serait pas plus efficace de payer quelqu'un pour qu'il la bute ? Je veux dire, non, mais au moins, ça réglerait le problème. Je veux dire, parce que là, quand même, c'est l'argent foutu par les fenêtres. Je veux dire, c'est...
Avant, il y a eu toute une tradition de nanas qui faisait du one-woman show, qui avait besoin un peu de jouer des bras parce que c'était un milieu très masculin et qu'il fallait prouver qu'on était capable aussi en tant que femme. Je pense qu'aujourd'hui, ça fait plus trop débat et que du coup, les nanas se permettent d'aborder des sujets de manière féminine. Et le sexe, quand il est abordé par des femmes, est beaucoup plus cru. C'est-à-dire qu'on a beaucoup plus l'habitude entre nanas de se raconter des choses de manière très très détaillée par rapport aux mecs qui vont pas aller si loin que ça dans les détails finalement. Donc c'est assez nouveau cette façon de faire parce que je te dis, encore une fois, je pense qu'on n'a plus trop l'impression en tant que nana sur scène d'avoir besoin de prouver qu'on a le droit d'être sur scène, quoi.
D'ailleurs, j'aime pas moi les mecs qui peuvent pas s'empêcher de parler tout le temps, de faire des commentaires pendant l'amour, je trouve ça chiant. En plus, la plupart du temps, les mecs chuchotent. Hein, il faut leur faire répéter. C'est tellement gênant de faire répéter à ce moment-là. Hein, qu'est-ce que ça dit ? C'est pour dire quoi ? Tu la sens ? Je la sentais surtout avant que tu la rentres. Maintenant, ça va mieux. Hein, reste dedans, du coup. T'es toute mouillée. Oui, c'est bon. On n'a pas besoin d'une version pour aveugles, en fait. Hein. On voit ce qui se passe à peu près. On comprend la situation. Est-ce qu'on vous fait chier, nous ? Non ? Parce qu'on pourrait s'y mettre aussi, je veux dire. Hein. C'est... Oh, t'es dedans, t'es dehors, t'es dedans, t'es dehors. Ah, c'est marrant, ton gland, on dirait la tête de Dark Vador. Si en ombre chinoise, ça fait ça. Non, on vous laisse tranquille, nous. On parlait de fellation tout à l'heure, mais là encore, chut. Règle de base, déjà, on ne s'adresse pas à quelqu'un qui n'est pas en mesure de répondre. C'est très embarrassant. Et puis, qu'est-ce que c'est que ce truc de nous dire « Oui, c'est bon, tu l'aimes. Si c'était bon, ça se saurait. » D'accord ? Il y aurait des Mr. Freeze, saveur beat. Il n'y en a pas ? Le blanc, c'est coco. Il n'y a pas de...
Je me dis, mais dans quelques années, on va vivre seul dans des appartements. On ne pourra plus de toute façon supporter de vivre avec quelqu'un d'autre parce que l'autre, c'est insupportable. L'altérité devient insupportable. Donc c'est pour ça que les couples, au bout de 3 mois, ça explose maintenant parce qu'on n'est plus capable de dealer avec l'altérité de toute façon, puisqu'on est persuadé que c'est nous le centre du monde et c'est nous, on est la meilleure version de l'être humain possible. Donc comment tu peux vivre avec un autre dans ces cas-là, c'est absolument impossible. Donc on est, et même tu vois dans les bouquins de développement personnel et machin, il faut d'abord s'aimer soi avant de pouvoir aimer les autres. Mais c'est bullshit, ça, c'est le contraire. C'est le contraire, la vie c'est le contraire, c'est-à-dire qu'il faut d'abord être ouvert aux autres et c'est le lien que tu tisses avec les autres qui te définit toi. Et après, peut-être tu vas t'aimer. Mais on est en train de marcher à l'envers, vraiment. Et je me dis, oui, à force de marcher dans ce sens-là, dans quelques années ou dans quelques générations, on vivra entièrement seul dans des appartements avec que des miroirs comme ça. Puis on se baladera, on se branlera toute la journée en se regardant.
C'est pas le cas.
Si, c'est déjà quasiment le cas. Enfin, je veux dire, c'est une tristesse effroyable. C'est pour ça que j'ai envie d'en rire, parce que sinon, je vais sur le Brooklyn Bridge et je me fais un petit jump.
Je me suis mise à avoir peur un peu à un moment de ces adeptes du zen, là, les bouffeurs de graines. Là, c'est vrai qu'il y a un moment où je dis, mais parce qu'au début, je les assimilais au baba cool. Je me dis, ils ont l'air cool ici. Mais ils sont pas cool du tout, ces mecs-là, en fait. C'est tout le contraire, en fait. Parce que qui est en réalité le type qui doit faire 2 heures de yoga par jour pour son équilibre mental, qui boit pas d'alcool pour pas modifier son état de conscience, qui boit pas de café sinon il pourrait pas dormir, qui boit pas de thé après 14 heures sinon ça l'énerve. Qui est ce type à part un grand malade qui a peur de déraper, je veux dire. Moi je veux pas croiser ce mec le jour où le prof de yoga est malade. Qu'est-ce qui se passe sans déconner? J'ai pas été au yoga, ça a été l'engrenage. Hein. J'ai bu un café, une biscotte au gluten, j'ai tué ma femme, je l'ai violée après. Non, moi je pense que le type qui refuse un Earl Grey après 14 heures est un mec dangereux.
Mitchell Abidor enjoys translating French history for an English-speaking audience. From the French Revolution to the Algerian Revolution, he has provided us with rare source materials on the actors themselves.
Jean Jaurès, he wrote over a period of 10 years, in the middle of all of his political activity, he wrote the socialist history of the French Revolution. And he intended it, it says it on the very first pages, as a guide to the working class. And he wanted, the French Revolution was not some event out there or back there in French history. It was something to be learned from, and lessons to be drawn from it, and it was to inspire the people of today in their political actions by looking at what was accomplished in the past. Because he believed that what it did was the French Revolution established the basis for socialism, which in his eyes was democracy. He says this like word for word. So the great thing, it involved the people in the process. It gave them democracy, and democracy is what's going to bring us socialism. He points out how important the people were, the working class was, in getting stuff done. Things didn't just happen in the National Convention or in the Constituent Assembly. They happened because the people pushed it. So he doesn't say there's democracy and that's it. It's democracy pushed along by the working people. And that's like what's really important, I think, in Jaurès, is that he recognizes that you need both. And I think that's like a really important lesson for today, 106 years, 7 years after he completed it. Blanqui spent his whole life fighting revolution. He spent 42 of his 70-some-odd years in jail. And for him, the revolution was always next week. Unfortunately, he was in prison the whole time of the Commune. And so the Commune offered all of their hostages for Blanqui. And Versailles said no, because they were afraid to have Blanqui free. So there would have been no hostages had Versailles made the trade. On the other hand, when Djustpora and his other people around him were executed in the last days of the Commune, they then become the image of the horrors of the Commune. Symbolism in the Commune, both during and after. So the chapelle expiatoire, which was built, to commemorate the, in expiation for having killed executed Louis XVI and Marie Antoinette, the Commune tore it down. They also, there's the Vendôme column, they tear that down. After the war, you also have your competing symbolisms afterwards, because you have the Mur des Fédérés at Père Lachaise and You also have Sacré-Cœur, which is no accident, and I always like to tell people, everybody goes to visit Sacré-Cœur, you look off at it, not knowing what that building means. And what it was put up right where the Commune began. And it's there to show that the church has taken back Paris, that power has gone back into the hands of its proper holders. And people nobody has any idea, but that was why that was built, where it was, and why it looms over all of Paris.
Sometimes I feel like a motherless child, a long way from home.
But Jimmy wrote, he produced, he spoke, he sang, for Jimmy was God's black revolutionary mouth.
A boy last week, he was 16, told me on television.
We don't even have a country. I know that. Do we have a country? You have no flag, brother.
He said, I got no country, I've got no flag. Now, he's only 16 years old. And I couldn't say you do. It is not a romantic matter. It is the unutterable truth. All men are brothers. It's up to you. As long as you think you're white, there's no hope for you. As long as you think you're white, I'm going to be forced to think I'm black.
Another country is about blacks and whites trying to connect, trying to respect each other, trying desperately to love each other.
I loved a few men, I loved a few women. And a few people who loved me. I suppose that's all that saved my life. The world is held together, really it is held together, by the love and the passion of very few people. And I really do believe that we can all become better than we are. Something very important may happen in the world. I believe that. I can't tell my nephew, my niece, you can't tell the children. There's no hope.
Papa Mamboy and Oulimata Nyang, while both born in Senegal, have different relationships to the country and African continent. When they met, they found their voices complemented one another, creating a beautiful new style. They call this Djustpora.
She started singing, and I was, oh my God, where are you from? You know, the voice was so big, because I've been playing and singing, and I have met a lot of musicians, but the quality of her voice was so amazing. And when I knew that she was from Senegal, and then I asked her, how come that you don't have an accent? She said, oh, because I grew up here, you know. And I say, we need to do something, you know. We need to give justice to people like Uli. The world has some sort of do you say prototype? Something like, stereotype. Yeah, stereotype of how an African should be or should look, you know, or should sound. And Oulimata doesn't sound like an African, you know. At the same time, she does. She's African. She has a variety of she can sound like soul, pop, African, you know, reggae. And that's the justice for the diaspora, you know. Malambada, bada chiu, ñoo demoon di xool Africa lay ñu xalaat ñoo demoon di xool Sénégal lay ñu xalaat.
All this pain, I wanna sleep for 1,000 years, 1,000 years living in my dreams. There will be no pain, no sorrow, nothing left to gain, only love remains.
I think what people are hearing is that we are very in tune with what's around us, and we're very respectful of each other. And so, you know, maybe if I'm singing with Pap, I'm tweaking my voice ever so slightly to make sure that we are in sync, and he's tweaking his voice ever so slightly. Yeah, if we're singing by ourselves, it's slightly different. It's very, very, very small difference, but it's there. So, you know, and Ben, the guitarist, is amazing, and another one who's a very, I think, generous artist, and very aware of his surroundings. And I think when you put people who just want to create good music, that can be generous, that listen, then you have something.
Ma demee di dox yeneen farata yi damay mujj di leen tënk su ma ne su ma demee di dox yeneen farata yi damay mujj di leen tënk su ma ne wante su ma dellu see fekk leen ñu waxtaan. Kaay ma way la ma way la kaay ma way la ma way la kaay ma way la. Ma dem ci mag ñi ne leen mbëggeel doy na wa ma laaj leen ñoom ñi fekk dem ba ndax lii yàgg na ñu ne ma jamono sosoo la ma gëstu maam Aadama gëstu maam Awa ma laaj leen ñoom ñi fekk dem ba tax lii yàgg na ñu ne ma jamono sosoo la kaay ma way la ma way la kaay ma way la ma way la kaay ma way la ma way la. xalaat bés bu ne de neexul daf ma indil wéetaay la xalaat bés bu ne de neexul daf ma indil wéetaay oh amatuma kenn ku ma dénk sumay xalaat su ma demee di dox yeneen farata yi damay mujj di leen tënk su ma demee di dox yeneen farata yi damay mujj di leen tënk te su ma dellu see fekk leen ñuy waxtaan. Africa was colonized by the French, okay, and the English people. They came there, they brought their culture to Africa. You know, they brought their culture, they brought it, and they talk, like they say to people there, this is the way you have to be. They shape our like way of thinking, of our way of seeing things, you know? Like the African they want to see today the image of the African they want us to be today. They kind of destroy it like hundreds of years, many years ago, you know? You cannot, like, you can have maybe on TV like people like running behind a lion or something. You might think that it probably exists, you know? But like African people, they today in Yale, they in Harvard, they in La Sorbonne, they like everywhere. But these people need to stop. There is a moment where people need to stop, and like the only thing that they have to know is they need to respect the suffering we went through. That like all what we went through was not a joke, and there is consequences today. Like what we see today in Africa, all the suffering, the war, it comes from somewhere. Like the violence comes from somewhere, you know? People not being able to eat, hunger comes from somewhere. People not being able to heal themselves, it comes from somewhere. It comes from people who went there and destroy the very basis of, you know, the culture, the language, you know? Me, at 6 years old, they put me in a school telling me, you have to learn French. And I had to learn it. And the only way to succeed is to learn French. If you don't learn French, you are having troubles, you know? You have to learn English. Oh, you have to learn Spanish. Oh, you got to learn German. Oh, you got to do that. Oh, you got to do, you know? And we have to understand that the African they want to know is like, we are part of the world, you know? The world is one place. We've been through a lot.
dama xalaat te lu ñëwoo xoolal ni may dundee xalaata Afrique xalaata jaaba ngay ndokki ndey sàmb jaraaf ba yaa ngi njëree jëf ma ne nu daanuma njëram ñaage njëram danay ma Malick Sarr mune man sama xoolee gis ni may dundee dama xalaat te lu ñaawoo xoolal ni may dundee xalaata Afrique xalaata gis naa bu sànjaafu àdduna yow mu jege àdduna door mu daal ngay na ñëw sànjaafu mu ne mbir bu nari ñaaw mbir bu nari ñaaw wooy mbir bu nari ñaaw banka ko denc loo xalaata Afrique xalaata Zimbabwe ndax kër gi may seet ci ntakku fa kër gi may seet kenn dugg fa kër gi may seet ci ndàkku fa kër gi may seet kenn dugg fa ndaxte daal ñoom duñu nitu mana na ndeysaan duñu wuyu ci ko am yërmande xalaata Afrique xalaata Zimbabwe kupale ma yóbbu paaka ñaari boor tey jii ma wayam dara ma ne kupale ma yóbbu paaka ñaari boor tey jii ma wayam dara ma ne kupale ma yóbbu paaka ñaari boor tey jii ma wayam dara ma ne kupale ma yóbbu paaka ñaari boor tey jii ma wayam dara mu ne man sama xoolee gis ni may dundee dama xalaat te lu ñëwoo xoolal ni may dundee xalaat Afrique xalaat jàpp ngay tokki ndey sàmb jaraaf ba yaa ngi njëree jëf ma ne nu naanuma njëram yaa ngay njëram nanay ma Malick Sa